helped crack a murder case. In 2024, 19-year-old Sade Robinson went on a first date in Milwaukee. The next day, her car was discovered burned behind an abandoned building, and Sade was missing. The key to solving the case? Her phone and some chilling surveillance footage. Anne-Marie Green gives us an early look at her report. Marie, I mean, that Life 360 app, how critical was that in this case?
Very. I don't know if you're familiar with this app. This is not like Find My Phone, right? This uses GPS to track your movements and additional data like the speed. They were able to zero in on exactly where she was throughout this date. And because of that, they could very quickly get surveillance video and other evidence that might have been lost if they had been trying to figure this out for weeks.
So Sade's last known location was along Lake Michigan at Warnemont Park. How unusual was it for her to be there at night?
19-year-old Sade Robinson went on a first date in Milwaukee and never came home. The next morning, her burned car was discovered abandoned miles away. But what investigators uncovered next would shock the entire city. A man takes a woman on a first date. He buys her drinks. He plays beer pong with her. He walks her to his car like a gentleman. Then he drugs her, kills her, and saws her body apart on the shore of Lake Michigan. And the only reason we know exactly how it happened is because he forgot to delete the photos from his phone. This is the case of Sade Robinson. She's 19 years old, 1 month from a criminal justice degree, meeting with Air Force recruiters, working late shifts at Pizza Shuttle without ever missing a day. And on the night of April 1st, she walks into a riverside restaurant to meet a man she's been texting for 3 days. His name is Maxwell Anderson. He's 33, a bartender, and he already has a plan. What you're about to see is how a tracking app reconstructed every step Sade took that night. And what forensic techs later pulled from Maxwell's phone revealed a level of cruelty that shook even veteran Milwaukee detectives. Sade arrives at the Twisted Fisherman on the Menominee River. She checks her hair, walks inside, and greets Maxwell at the bar. Investigators later flag something in this footage. Maxwell barely looks at her. He doesn't engage. His energy reads less like nerves and more like detachment. They move to Duke's on Water, play beer pong with another couple. Sade is laughing, relaxed. She doesn't see what investigators will later see. At 9 p.m., she leaves the bar with him and gets into his car. If Sade's story is already gripping you, share this video right now. Hit like so her name reaches more people. And subscribe to Clint Crime so you never miss a case. A doorbell camera captures them arriving at his South Side home at 9:25 p.m. Faint silhouettes move across the upper floor for hours. Then, just after midnight, a single figure walks out alone. Investigators aren't convinced it's Sade. By the time the sun rises over Lake Michigan, the first piece of evidence is already waiting. Sade doesn't show for her shift at Pizza Shuttle. Her coworkers reported immediately. She's never late, she's never absent. Police send out a welfare check within hours. But across Milwaukee, something far worse has already surfaced. 2 men walking the shoreline below Warnemont Park spot something on the bluff. They call 911. What they found is a severed human leg, pink nail polish still visible on the toes. Officers note 2 things at the scene. The remains didn't wash ashore. Someone threw them from the wooded ridge above. And this happened recently. Hours, not days. 10 miles south, Sade's Honda Civic sits burned out on an abandoned lot. Fire damage is severe. But inside the trunk, her purse, shoes, and clothing survive. Registration confirms the vehicle belongs to Sade Robinson. Milwaukee County now has a missing 19-year-old, a severed limb, and a torched car. They launch a full homicide investigation. At the Robinson home, detectives break the news to Sade's family. But her sister offers something nobody expected. She and Sade share Life 360, a location app that tracks movement with surgical precision. It recorded everything from the night Sade vanished. Here's what it shows. After leaving Maxwell's house, the car doesn't head home. It drifts. For 2 full hours, the Honda moves between random locations. No destination, no stops. Windows fogged with condensation. Then, just before 3 a.m., the car changes course toward Lake Michigan. At 2:52 a.m., it arrives at Warnemont Park. All movement stops. Shade's phone goes dead at 4:30 a.m. Pump house surveillance captures what happens next. A dark silhouette drags something heavy across the rocks toward the water. 90 minutes later, the figure returns carrying a large backpack. Detectives now know where Sade died. They know when it happened. What they still need is proof of who drove her car to that bluff and set it on fire. And to get that answer, they'll have to walk into a house that shakes even veteran investigators. Irume. What detectives find inside Maxwell Anderson's home won't solve this case, but it will haunt every officer who walks through that door. Investigators pull Maxwell's criminal record first. What comes back is a pattern: convictions for battery, assault, domestic abuse. Months before meeting, Sade, a woman, filed a complaint. She told police Maxwell drugged her during a dinner date and pressured her to leave with him. She got so sick she called a friend to come collect her. Then, two witnesses step forward and accelerate everything. Maxwell's ex-girlfriend shows police an Instagram video he sent her on March 28th. It shows a suitcase containing a dismembered body from an unrelated killing. His caption read, "Please be careful out there." He sent it because he was angry she was dating other people. A friend of Maxwell's tells detectives something worse. Weeks before the murder, he visited Maxwell's basement. Plastic sheeting covered the walls and floor. Saws and knives lay scattered across every surface. Maxwell told him directly that he planned to kill and dismember someone in that room. The friend walked away and dismissed it as another strange comment. On April 12th, officers execute a search warrant. They arrest Maxwell during a traffic stop 2 blocks from his home. He requests a lawyer and never speaks to detectives again. Inside the residence, investigators find 0 DNA evidence linking Maxwell to Sade. But here's what they do find. 1. 51 bladed weapons in the kitchen alone. 2. Blood spatter across walls, bedding, and flooring. 3. A basement converted into a concealed dungeon with restraints and hidden rooms. 4. Drawers stocked with surgical gloves, duct tape, zip ties, and plastic sheeting. 5. Bags of women's clothing, shoes, and underwear stuffed inside the walls. 6. Handwritten ledgers filled with violent fantasies and women's personal details. The blood tests canine. Not a single blade carries Shade's DNA. No cleanup evidence exists anywhere. The house tells officers exactly who Maxwell Anderson is, but it cannot prove what he did to Sade Robinson. A friend heard Maxwell say he planned to kill and dismember someone, heard those words out loud, and walked away. Let that sit with you. The answer won't come from inside that house. It'll come from something Maxwell thought he erased. Investigators circle back to the surveillance footage. Someone drove Shade's car to the lake and set it on fire. CCTV near the burned vehicle captures a figure in a hoodie carrying a heavy backpack. He moves fast. He reaches a bus stop and boards a city bus. The onboard camera captures his face clearly. Maxwell Anderson. Strong circumstantial evidence. But without DNA, prosecutors need more, and they find it in the last place Maxwell wanted anyone to look. Forensic technicians download the contents of Maxwell's phone. They recover dozens of deleted images taken after midnight on April 2nd. At 12:04 a.m., Maxwell takes the first photo. Sade is lying face down on his couch, incapacitated, an arm draped over her face. In the images that follow, she appears in various states of undress. A white male's hands are visible in frame. While taking those photos, Maxwell turned on one specific episode of Love, Death, and Robots. The episode features a dismembered corpse on a beach. If this case has shaken you, share it right now. Hit subscribe to Clint Crime, and drop a like so Shade's story keeps reaching people who need to hear it. On April 4th, prosecutors charge Maxwell Anderson with first-degree intentional homicide, mutilation of a corpse, and arson. Those photos didn't just prove opportunity. They proved intent. They proved awareness. Maxwell Anderson sat beside a woman he had already decided to destroy and documented the moment with his own hands. He picked that episode on purpose. He watched a scene that mirrored exactly what he was about to do. How long do you think he had this planned? What the jury decided took less time than the investigation itself. In the weeks after the charges, remains keep washing up along the Milwaukee shoreline. A foot near the burned Honda. An arm on a beach in Waukegan, Illinois. Forensic teams confirm every piece belongs to Sade Robinson. Prosecutors argue Maxwell's speed and precision that night proved extensive planning. Maxwell drugged Sade inside his home, killed her, then dismembered her during the 90-minute window at Warnemont Park where no camera could reach. On June 6, 2025, a jury finds Maxwell Anderson guilty on all counts. The judge sentences him to life in prison. Maxwell stands before the court. He offers condolences to Sade's family. Then he tells the judge he is innocent. He says he never pursued a plea deal because he did not commit these crimes. He announces his plan to appeal. After everything you've just seen, he still says he didn't do it. You tell me what you believe. In September 2024, a mural appeared near the entrance of Pizza Shuttle where Sade worked. She was 19 years old, 1 month from graduating, already planning her future in the Air Force. Her family said she wanted better for herself and for everyone around her. She never let anything stop her. If her story moved you, like this video and subscribe to Clint Crime, share it so her name never fades. Every case matters. Every story deserves to be heard.